Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations on New Comic Book Day. Fritz, it was a big week of comics. Tons of variants to choose from for people and a decent number of graphic novels. But we're going to focus today on the periodicals. What did you go with for your pick this week?
Yeah, so I went with Bleeding Hearts issue 2, continuing from the previous issue that I had up here.
Yep.
And whereas the first issue, it's funny that we've got Poke is kind of like on the center here, surrounded by all these other zombies. He kind of takes a back seat in this issue. We've got this one kind of focuses more on these humans that he found at the end of the previous issue. Spoiler alert if you didn't pick it up, but also, I mean, it's a zombie book, so there's going to be humans that have to try not to be eaten by the zombies at some point.
Right.
Yeah, so this issue...
Farm fresh humans.
Yeah, so this issue, we spent a lot of time with them kind of like looking back at how their life was leading up to the events of these couple issues. The interesting thing is we still haven't really gotten a sense of anyone's life before the zombie apocalypse. Yeah. It's only, which part of me wonders if that's something we're ever going to touch on, or if it's very deliberate that it's just not a thing that anyone really has any real memory of anymore because they've just been dealing with this for so long.
Sure.
But yeah, it's about this mom and her kid and how they've just been trying to survive, and this kind of like how they deal with living in this world. Because for the mom, at least, like I said, we don't really dwell on the apocalypse stuff, but the implication is there of she does on some level remember what it was like to live before this.
Yeah.
Which translates to how she feels so bad that she has to try and raise a kid in this world that's just inherently incredibly hostile towards her existence. But there's multiple times where it's just you flash back, she's oh, when she was a baby, I had to hold her close so she they wouldn't hear her crying as they devoured these people. Yeah. And it's just that's just not something a child should have to experience. And I mean, for what it's worth, the kid seems pretty well adjusted, as much as I think you can expect them to be.
Yeah.
But no, I really like the whole switch up of we spend the first issue focusing on Poku. We get to focus on these new characters, and we do get a bit of Poku. And how we get him in here is actually really interesting because since it's mostly from these humans' perspectives, a lot of times it kind of alternates between him being kind of the more friendly Poke that we see before, and then this kind of more ominous. There's a couple panels where that he's not a bad guy, but you can definitely see where even outside the zombiness of it all, if someone saw him and be something's off-putting about this dude.
Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Yeah, but no, it's wonderfully done. Morians I talked about this a lot last issue, just absolutely stellar cartoonist. Just the way that he's able to convey all these emotions so succinctly is spectacularly done. I love, there's this running theme in here of do you trust your heart or do you trust your brain? Which one is going to get you through a situation? Yeah. Which obviously has double meaning when it comes also then to being a zombie book.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, all the Vertigo books so far, I think I've had them all up here when they've come out. I've been a big fan of. So
this is 4 for 4, I think. Of issues released on the new Vertigo line. Yeah.
Yeah. So and we've got back issues of all of them still. So if you didn't check them out before, definitely come and check them out. They're really good. But this is a newer book that we've been having up here. Let's have an older book we've been having up here.
Yeah, for sure. So I went with Transformers number 30. I think it's been a while since it's been my individual pick. It's been our joint pick and your pick a number of times over the last year or so. But so we get kind of a shake-up issue here. So at the end of the last issue, we've got an internal fight with the Autobots about to go down. So we pick right up there, and it turns into kind of a slugfest, I guess.
Yeah.
One-on-one, stand back, this is between us kind of moments. And it's this issue was very focused on that moment. A lot of times with comics, you're kind of jumping around to all these different threads that are happening at the same time. And this one was very focused on, is the current leadership of the Autobots, the best that we can have right now is what we're doing, and focusing on trying to protect the people of Earth. Is that a distraction that we can't afford because it could mean the end of the Autobots, or is that the right and just thing to do, and we do that no matter what? So that's kind of the ideological difference that needs to be settled here. Again, the art on this book was gorgeous. It was really neat, and I don't know how much I want to go into that without giving anything away, but we got to see some cool new stuff.
Yeah.
And the last handful of issues, we've had different versions of characters, so we get to see kind of some new stylings in this book that were really cool too. Yeah. But and then we were talking just before we started the video, you said that the next issue is going to be Megatron centric, right? We're getting kind of a Megatron solo issue. So
yeah, similar to how they did before during Johnson's run. Same artist, Lud. I'm blanking on to say the name. The guy who's been doing Ghost Pepper.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so he's going to be on as artist for that issue again, and then after that. So it's sad to see this is the end of Dan Moore's short run of the book, but they're going to have, it looks like Jason Howard is going to be on as like the ongoing artist for a while.
Oh yeah.
Did the Starscream 2-parter back during Johnson's run, so I really like his stuff. I think he's a good fit for the book.
I think that'll be very good.
Yeah, and he's been doing like a bunch of like covers and stuff for the series.
It's almost like they've got artists lined up to do this series. It's like a lot of the comic book artists that are working right now were Transformers fans at one point in time or something. But who doesn't want to draw giant transforming robots throwing punches at each other and stuff? I gotta say, that is kind of one of the interesting things about this version of Transformers. There's a lot more, punching and physical combat than there is laser blasting.
Which I really do think is one of the more interesting and cool things that Johnson introduced.
I agree. Yeah, I think it definitely goes back to Daniel Warren Johnson's love of wrestling and drawing wrestling stuff.
And I'm happy that they've kept that in here. That a lot of times it's just a big old melee.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, well, speaking of big old melees, holy smokes, what's going on in our consensus pick?
To the surprise of no one, because I feel like almost every issue of this book has been up here.
Well, it's been on pretty much everybody's list.
We've got Absolute Batman issue 18.
Yeah, and I know that there were a ton of people excited about this one. Certainly have the Poison Ivy cover, which is disturbing, but not as disturbing as the Poison Ivy interiors.
No, yeah, we were talking about this before. I didn't know that. Yeah, you not a fan of like weird body horror stuff.
Well,
like that.
It definitely it gets to me. You know? And so I think like when I like being put on the edge of my seat. That's a good way to do it. In particularly the whole concept of changing one's DNA or, biological makeup or whatever against one's will. That's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
So, and that is the whole premise of this fight that they're having.
Yeah, no, I love this, these two issues, the whole concept that Batman and really a lot of characters are dealing with is the concept of what does it mean to change? Like, how much do you want to change? Like, how much you want to keep of what you were?
Right.
Because everyone's kind of going through it. Like, clearly, the obvious thing is, like, Poison Ivy trying to, like, mutate people, but we've got some stuff going on with Martha. She's got some backstory going on that is very interesting. On like a very different take on some characters, it seems.
Including, obviously Martha's still alive, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
But turns out she had this whole secret life on top of being alive right now.
Which I'm sure we're going to learn more about that as we go, but what that all entails will be interesting.
Some good revelations in this one.
I have some theories, but
yeah.
But even like we get a bunch more scenes with Bruce's friends, like them dealing with him trying to reach out to them and them just being like, not dealing with you, man.
Well, most of them. There's one that seems receptive.
Yeah. But and then like the way that all comes together at the end is it's funny. I was telling you before that Snyder did an interview recently where it's just like, if you thought I was being mean to Bruce in like the Bane arc, I hope you're ready for the next arc. And you can definitely see like where they're coming off of this. Batman is in a very particular like place where I think it's very important that he has these certain relationships and where he's at with them and how those are going to play into it going forward. Yeah,
he also has interesting interactions with the Gordons separately.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was really funny when Jim came to talk to him and he's like, Icky, I do not want to have this conversation with you. And he's like, okay, well, there is something that I need to talk to you about. That was funny. But also, like, I'm really, the direction that Snyder is taking everything in is, and how he's twisting these relationships just a bit, where it's like, you feel like, oh, okay, so now this is going to go this direction. Oh, wait, no, okay, we're doing something a little different here. And, the Gordons were kind of a good encapsulation of that, and how he's been doing that this whole series in this particular issue that was really pronounced, I thought, anyway. So, the whole tree analogy and all that kind of stuff, so it ended in a different place than I thought it was going to.
No,
plus we had Alfred and Harley
and Dick Grayson and Dick, we get a little bit of everyone, and it all very much feels like we're coming to like a very kind of like big tipping point in the book. We know with the next arc that we're getting a bunch of villains. We've got Joker's going to be doing more. We've got Absolute Scarecrow showing up, who someone pointed out, like, oh, he looks like a character from not Hellraiser, but this other Clive Barker movie. And it's just like, oh, he kind of does, actually. And then Absolute Deathstroke, who I was talking about this with one of our coworkers yesterday. I'm very much a fan of the increasing Metal Gear-ification of the Absolute Batman line.
Yeah.
Like, I love that aesthetic, and them meshing that into this is just super cool.
Well, and Snyder has got so much going on in this book and so many characters and everything, but it's such a tight story. Like, he's doing such a good job of balancing all of that and introducing it and making that whole story from issue to issue just flow nicely. It never gets choppy or busted up or anything.
The fact that there can be so much going on and it never feels like you're drowning in it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, I mean, other than you're drowning in Batman's in way over his head and you kind of get that suffocating kind of feeling for him empathically. But it's been good. So, all right. Well, what else was kind of on your radar this week but didn't quite make the cut?
We had a couple new number ones this week, particularly from Marvel. We had X-Men United, which is kind of them taking another stab at like a new version of like a school for X-Men characters, which I found interesting. Imperial Guardians came out, are the most I think last in the space book line that Marvel is doing now, because I don't think Exiles is ever happening.
I believe they have said Exiles is not happening.
Yeah, Exiles has been exiled.
Yes.
But both of those were good. I love the whole notion of the Imperial Guardians being this kind of like Black Ops, doing the stuff, the dirty work that keeps the galaxy working kind of thing.
Yep.
DC had a couple other good books like Supergirl. We've got the start of the Reign of the Superboy stuff going on in all the Superman books. That was super fun. Anything from you, Patrick?
Yeah, well, we had the new fanzine, Comics Magazine. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, or I think it's like Comic the Magazine.
Oh, Comics the Magazine?
Yeah, I'm just going to grab just because I think
Yes, Comics the Magazine.
Yeah, so it's, as the name would suggest, it's all about like comics, but like not just because like a frustrating thing when you have a conversation when it comes to comics is a lot of times when people say comics, they just mean Marvel DC stuff, which is incredibly limiting despite the fact that a lot of what we have up here, it's usually Marvel and DC stuff. But I love that they've got like interviews with people, like speaking of Absolute Batman, they've got like the whole like writer, artist, colorist, letterer, editor team on to like talk about that. They've got like retrospectives on like other previous comic magazines. They've got cool little ads for comic books. They've even got like their own little like little mini comics in here.
Chip Zdarsky's Looking for Work.
Yeah, they've got like interviews and like articles about like more like indie books. Like this one looks super interesting. I love the art here, but no, it's I love a book where it actually really wants to like delve into all the little different types of comics like that.
And I think because of the way that like distribution and everything is shaken up now, and kind of the way that publishers are approaching books now too, in general, that there was a real space for this to be able to come in and to be an independent voice in comic books, where it can be very pro comic book in, trying to build up and support the whole concept of comics without being specifically tied to a particular publisher or distributor. That allows it to, kind of have the breadth for all of the stuff, so you've got a one-stop shop. Whereas before it was kind of, or post-Diamond, you didn't really have anybody who had a vested interest in all of the different comic lines. So, it was really cool. So, very, very interesting. So, all right, well, like we said earlier, it was a big week. There's tons of stuff for you to come down and pick out. Hope you liked the video. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, share, stop on into your local comic shop and pick up some books for yourself. We will be back next week with more Pulp Picks. Until then, enjoy the reading.
Now, one of the things I really liked in here, they talk about like right at the start, is just that like for a lot of people that, manga is like a way in. And I hope that somehow they're able to also then get to interview like mangaka and stuff too, and talk about like, hey, like, you just gotta get like the craft from their side of the perspective.
I agree. I think that would be fit. I've always thought that the walls between whether it's publishers or, American versus non-American books, like it's all just so stupid. Like why do you feel like you have to, put your flag on one of those hills and that's the only thing that you can like? Like get out there and explore all this stuff, because it's good for everybody if all of it is has more broad appeal.